Valuation. Obviously, you would first of all need someone to want to sell their property in order to start a sales process. It's important to educate yourself in the property you are approaching to sell, but the important part is convincing your vendor, because your aim is to own the selling rights of the property solely for no competition by any other agents. This would be a success if you sign a sole contract, as this proves that the vendor trusts you representing their home. There are 3 core ways to receive a valuation request. Here is the first way. Valuation requests, or in other words, property appraisal requests, are mainly a result of someone at the other end of the computer requesting for their property to be valued. Not rocket science. Occasionally, the lead is sent by a property sales portal, such as Zoopla or Rightmove. Don't forget, you are not the only agent receiving the request. You would have to be quick to check these in the morning, because the leads may have come and agents would have probably called the vendors. So get your foot in there before anyone else. Some vendors don't see a point of inviting more than 3 agents, so be quick. Don't be too happy as a sales manager because you have done nothing yet to own this valuation. This is the easy part and the easiest way to start a sale on a property. Subject to a buyer. Here is the second way. This will be the hardest yet the most rewarding way to gain a lead. This way, you would need to go into an online property selling portal such as Rightmove or Zoopla and look at properties for sale within the area you cover. Ideally, look for properties which have been on the market for over 3 months. Reason why I say 3 months is because vendors probably have signed a contract for 8 to 12 weeks as a sole agent. So their contract is coming to an end. But also, from my experience, a property in London should be sold subject to contract within 2 months. If it's not sold within 2 months, there is a problem. This could be several reasons, such as advertising strategy of the agent, or agents not warm calling enough clients to find a potential buyer. But mainly the problem is the price. Once you have collected a list of, say, 10 properties within the area that has been on the market for over 3 months, start planning your route from your office all the way around all of those properties and back. Knock on the properties that you have printed. Most likely you will have no one answering 5 out of 10 doors. Because don't forget, it is working hours, so they will also be at work. If they're not in, just post a note or a letter through the door stating that you paid a visit but they weren't present. And don't forget to note their door number, because you will send them a separate letter which will maximize your chance of them calling you back. Then again, you may be lucky if a family member answers the door, or maybe the vendor itself. The third strategy is most probably one of the most dominant and easiest way to have a reliable sale. And here is why. If someone is looking for a property, and most probably something more than a 2-bed, he or she is most likely upgrading their home. Serving a buyer is a wonderful opportunity for you and the company to make some extra money from ongoing asset sales. He or she is probably buying whilst wanting to simultaneously sell their own property. Have you noticed something? This is also vice versa. A buyer not only may have a property to sell, as he may be upgrading, a seller would also want a property to buy. So, It's a win-win situation on both circumstances. A buyer is most probably a seller, and a seller is most probably a buyer. When a buyer wants to see a property you have advertised, you obviously vet the buyer to see if they qualify to purchase a property. But don't ever forget to ask them about their property. I mean, surely they weren't homeless before they want to buy a place, right? Maybe they're even renting. Well, once you ask them, when is the end of your contract? That is a good catch for your rental department to fish out business for themselves. So if you pass a lead over, surely you should be up for some sort of commission if the lead is successful. Don't forget, if the buyer has a property to sell, make sure you have convinced him also to find him the best property to buy. They most likely would like to leave the process of both properties to yourselves so you can easily close a deal for the conveyancing and maybe even with a mortgage broker for extra commission. But when you are serving these types of buyers or sellers, please, you have to be extra careful with the service you provide to them, as one problem will account to 2 or more sales to fall through. If anyone has been through this similar scenario, everyone is probably looking at you right now in bitterness. But doesn't matter. After today, you will be a better salesman.